Welcome to KMXT's Talk of the Rock, our local community affairs program, where we explore issues and organizations related to our community. Talk of the Rock is hosted by members of the KMXT News team.
And that would be us. We're all members of the KMXT News team this afternoon. Good afternoon to you all and the listening audience. I'm Mike Wall. I'm here with a special edition of Talk of the Rock because we had a scheduling conflict, which fit in perfectly till today. So in the studio with me, we have representatives from the high school, from the college, and from the Brother Francis Shelter, and we're going to talk about it. What are we going to talk about there? Emily, you're the lead in this whole project, since I think it was you who put the whole thing together as part of your practicum. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it a little bit. Yeah. First, let's introduce ourselves.
So I am Emily, and I am a social work student at UAF. This Project Homeless Connect is part of my practicum, which is an internship for my senior year of my degree. I'm doing that practicum at the Brother Francis Shelter, so this is in conjunction with that. And I'm also now the coordinator of the Kodiak Homeless Coalition. So we're all kind of working together to put this project together, but I'm definitely planning it as part of my practicum.
So you're the brain trust.
Yeah, kind of.
and you just grabbed everybody else and said, "Come along for the ride. Help me do this."
Yeah. I'm pretty good at convincing people to do.
How do you do that?
I'm annoying.
Well, I agree with that.
I'm persistent, and I don't give up till I get what I want. So
great. It's UAF, not Kodiak College.
Yeah, so I got my associates here at Kodiak College, and then after my associates, I moved on to UAF. I do it all. I've lived in Kodiak the entire time, but I do it all distance classes. And so they're able in that program to do practicum placement in the community that you're in to kind of support rural students across the state. So it's a pretty awesome program. I'm dual majoring, so I'm also majoring in justice. So the Brother Francis Shelter kind of ties into both the justice aspect as well as the social work aspect. So it kind of meets the two degrees kind of in the middle.
So do you go to classes here at all?
I have gone to... after my associates, I've done a couple classes here. I did math and science here because that's just easier for me to do in person. But most of my classes are online, either via Blackboard or I have to call into a line and listen to the teacher do lecture and stuff like that.
And you like learning like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty self-driven. I don't need a lot of pushing to get things done, so I do pretty well with the online classes.
Okay, so you've recruited these two ladies who come in and help you on this project.
Mm-hmm. So Dana is actually my practicum supervisor at the Brother Francis Shelter. Her and Monty are supervising me. And then Lori helped me to get the venue all set up and wanted to participate beyond that. And so she is now my donations coordinator for the project.
Dana, you've been with the Brother Francis Shelter for a while?
Yeah, I've been there for 9 years now.
And somebody just walked in the door and said, "I want to do this. Can you help?"
So, Emily did just walk in the door and said that she wanted to do a practicum with us. But Project Homeless Connect is something that's been going on around the state for a while. And we have a state homeless coalition, and I'm involved in that. And so it's something that I've been hoping that we would be able to do, but the shelter didn't have the resources and time to put it together on our own. So this practicum was a perfect opportunity for that.
So this is the first Kodiak project that is... Yes. So are you working in conjunction with the state project?
So I am actually next week going down to Kenai to do their Project Homeless Connect. I'll be volunteering and helping out there, going to their training to kind of get an idea. I picked that community because it's more comparable in size and resources to ours. The Anchorage one is huge, but it wouldn't give me a really honest, good idea of what we could accomplish here. like Kenai could. So I will be there next week to help out and kind of check things out. They've been doing it for, I think, more than 7 years now in Kenai. Other communities, again, Anchorage, Juneau does one, Fairbanks does one, Matsu does one. I'm not sure. I think that might be all of them. But yeah, it's not just here in Alaska too. It's across the United States. It's a project that's been gaining momentum in states all across the U.S. So
I'll get to impacts later. Lori Seavey is in the room too. You just got recruited?
Well, so first off, I'm not here for the high school or for the school district. I'm here independently. But they came to my office, community schools, to ask about reserving space. And so I got excited about it because hearing about the project, hearing about what they wanted to do. So I am volunteering separately as the fundraising coordinator because I've worked with nonprofits in town before doing fundraising. And so I thought, okay, that's something I can help with. And I really believe in helping this event and the Brother Francis Shelter because I feel like I'm a representation of a lot of people in America, and I hate to say it, but I'm one paycheck away from, needing help. So I think it's a lot more common than we think. I think it's not just a specific population that we tend to look at and go, oh, it's them. It's us. So I really want to help.
Well, so what is it? What is this project?
So Project Homeless Connect is a one-day event that provides housing services and hospitality in a convenient one-stop model directly to people, not just who are experiencing homelessness, but those who are at risk for homelessness. So that could be anyone from veterans in crisis, people experiencing homelessness, families experiencing housing instability, couch surfing teens and young adults experiencing homelessness, and working poor and low income families. And so it's a collaborative effort between the private sector, government agencies, and service agencies to provide services and come together. A lot of the services already exist here in the community. People just may not know that they exist or how to access them. So it's a good opportunity for organizations to put their name out there. It's also a really good way to do data collection for people in town who may need help that we may not be reaching, to find out where there are gaps in our services in the community, and figure out ways to help them. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort. And it's a community thing. It's pretty awesome. We've got a whole bunch of agencies that have already registered to be there, and we're really excited.
Isn't this part of what the Brother Francis does already?
Yeah, it is kind of. We do have our homeless individuals that are there, and we do outreach with them and try to work on things. But there's a lot of barriers. First of all, a lot of people when they think of shelter, they don't recognize shelter as what Brother Francis is, which we're pretty clean in the facility. It's pretty safe in the facility. But if you've dealt with homelessness and experienced somewhere like LA, where shelters are dangerous, dirty, difficult to access, limited space, you don't even bother coming in and talking to me. I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday that is facing homelessness. She's found a couch to sleep on for a couple of days and isn't going to be staying in Kodiak. So a lot of the homeless prevention resources aren't accurate for her. But entering shelter was absolutely not an option. And so through encouragement and things, I tried to get her some resources that would help, and I may end up seeing this individual, but it's not always accurate for a lot of people because they don't want to perceive themselves as the kind of stereotypical homeless individual. We have a very limited identification of youth and young adults that are experiencing homelessness, which is usually a couch surfing kind of deal. Somebody stays at a friend's house because their homes not safe or homeless or whatever the situation is. And one of the groups of individuals that Brother Francis doesn't accept is unaccompanied minors. We would never turn them out into the cold. We would have them come in and start looking at calling Office of Children's Services and things like that. So it's a population that we don't have really any information for as a community, and they don't access services. We don't know what services they need, how many there are, any of that information. So we have a very robust homeless prevention program at Brother Francis and the shelter, but there's a lot of people that we don't know about that are out there and aren't aware of services. Some of my hardest clients are often people that have done very well as a family. They've had, they have a house and a car and a good job and 6 months savings, and then something happens and everything falls apart. And I usually they don't come to me when things are getting difficult. They come to me when things have gone way too wrong. They're $40,000 in debt. The car's been taken. The house gets foreclosed on next week. That's when I get to intervene with them, and it's very, very difficult to work from that point.
So is this a complementary program to what the Brother Francis does? I mean, if this is only a one-day event, though, does it get another group started, or is there a subsidiary that takes over after this to try and address some of these problems?
So it will be complementary to what we already do. I will be there to take applications and work with people at that moment. And then from there, maybe something will be started, or maybe we'll have a lot of great information to take to our city leaders, or maybe as a community, we will just understand what the situation is a little better and make plans and address it from that. I don't know really what's going to happen after this Project Homeless Connect, but what will happen is we'll have a really good picture of what Kodiak is dealing with and be able to make decisions from there.
Because you think enough people are going to actually show up to give you good data?
I'm hoping so. We're trying hard. Outreach is ongoing. Emily's been doing great about talking to people. We're hoping that today will help get some outreach to different populations. We need not only people that need the services, but also people that are community members. So both the people that are getting the services and the volunteers to interact with those individuals. We're looking for an all hands on deck for this one day event.
I know I do also hope that it will help change some of the misconceptions in this town that homelessness is directly associated with like substance abuse. Because through the homeless prevention program, we see that there's just so many other reasons, whether it's, a death in the family from the primary provider, or an illness, a sudden, major illness, someone gets cancer, or, something else and can't work anymore, domestic violence situations. There's just a huge array of reasons why people end up in a situation where their housing is at risk. And so hopefully it can fight some of those misconceptions in this town as well. So yeah, we're really hoping. I know I also have done some promotional materials I've got posters that are on their way in Tagalog and Spanish to help with some outreach to different populations. And then I have little business cards as well that have all the information that I've been passing out to agencies around town to give to clients that they think could benefit from this event. So I have them now in English, Tagalog, and Spanish. And I encourage service providers to contact me so that I can make sure that they have those cards to give them to clients that they think could benefit from this event.
What got me when you gave me a brief rundown of what you wanted to talk about here was that your goal is to eliminate homelessness. this to me seems to be a very persistent problem that if this has existed